Okay, cool. Hey, everyone. Happy Tuesday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today on this webinar where we're talking about how to find a good fit when it comes to, when you're searching for schools or you're searching for a district, how to find a good fit and how to really look into a district. So before we jump in today, I just want to shout out, thank you AAEE for hosting this event. And if you haven't signed up for their career fair, it's on Thursday. You can see the times here, and all you need to do is I pop the link on over in our chat, and I'll go ahead and do that again, just in case. Bada bing, bada boom, it's right in there. So you can register for this free event as a teacher candidate, and you can also go in and see, once you're registered, you can see all the different organizations attending, and you can see a little bit more about them. And look, you can click on some of the schools, which is what we're going to do today. So whenever I was interviewing many moons ago, let me just present my screen here. And my college was like, okay, you have to research the school. And thinking back, I really had no idea what that meant. I knew it was something I had to do, but not really sure what that all entailed. So over in the chat, I dropped in a PDF, and I'll pop it in there one more time, just for good measure. There we are. It's a PDF that goes along with this presentation. And the point of today's presentation is to have you go through the steps of researching a school. So if you're registering for that career fair now, find a school that you're interested in. Or if you have a school that you're totally obsessed with, you're checking their website like daily and refreshing that screen, go to that website for today's session. And this will be a really nice make and take type session. I'll be using an example school district, Granite School District from Utah, which I was able to visit with them a few weeks ago. So I'll be using their website just to showcase some of the things to be looking for when it comes to researching a school. So first, if you're approaching your job fair, your job search through the lens of working through a career fair or through career services, if you're going to a career fair, make sure you look through that list of all the organizations and schools and districts that are attending that career fair. You're going to want to look through that whole list and start sorting out which schools or districts you're really excited about. You're going to kind of put them into three little groups. You don't want your first interview at a career fair to be with your number one gotta have this position school. You want it to be kind of like you want your first interview, you want to get kind of the kinks out, you want to work through your interview questions at a school that you're excited about, but it's not your number one choice, because you never know where a conversation can lead. Maybe that school that you put like in a group 3, like, this is cool, I kind of like this, but oh my gosh, if that one school gave me a job, you never know where that conversation can lead. So let's jump right into what it means to research a school. Grab that PDF, download it, get ready to edit it, either in your OneNote or in your browser, your favorite PDF editor, because that is where we're going to jump into today. All right, there we go. So a little bit about me. My name is Dr. Sam Fastich, and I'm an associate professor at Grove City College in Grove City, Pennsylvania, where I get to teach future educators all about educational technology and special education. And again, whenever I was first job searching, I was looking for a K-12 position, I really had no idea what I was looking for in a school, because I didn't really flesh that out for myself. So I'm really excited to give this chat with you guys today, so you can learn a little bit from my mistakes and hopefully you don't repeat them. I'm also the author of EduMagic, a guide for pre-service teachers, and EduMagic Shine On, a guide for new teachers. You can find my podcast, EduMagic, wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can find me over on Twitter and Instagram at @sfastich. And I would love to connect with all of you after today's session, where we can continue our conversation from there. So that's a little bit about myself. And I also work with student teachers. I oversee a few of our special ed student teachers and their student teaching placements. And it's so cool to see them grow and learn throughout their college career. So here's our agenda today. We're going to be exploring what it means to research a school, some specific things to look for on a school district's website. Because yeah, we can just click on this site, like, okay, I read the homepage, I'm done. Nope, we're gonna dig in deep into a few areas. And that's why having that PDF available, very important. So you can jot things down and you can actually work on researching a school during today's session. So you can do a little make and take, do a little bit of research before Thursday at the career fair. So we're gonna be digging into each of these areas on the school district site. So let me just go ahead. I'm going to minimize this screen so we can do this together. So I want you guys to pull up a school district that you are interested in working for. Or if you can't think of one right now, that's okay. Grab the link for a district that you've done some field work in, or maybe some student teaching. And I'm going to use Granite School District just for our example for today's session. So I'm going to pause here, make sure you guys have your PDF and we're ready to rock and roll. If you can give me a Y in chat. Yep, I got it and I'm ready to go. So Y, we have our PDF. Awesome. Kirk's rocking and rolling. Hannah's rocking and rolling. Anthony's good to go. Awesome. All right, so let's make sure we have our PDF, and then we're also going to open up either in a new tab or a new window, whichever you prefer. If you want to put the windows together, you can do that. A school district in which you're interested in, whether it's something that you're interested in applying for a few jobs, or if you can't think of one right now, that's okay. Just pull up a district so we can practice with what to look for. And let's put a D in chat when you have a district or a school up that you are excited about or you're going to use for today's practice. So this one's my example, Granite Schools in Utah. And Tim, will they be at the career fair on Thursday? Calling them out. You got to unmute that mic.
On mute. No, yeah, you are calling them out because they are not participating.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! Granite School District. All right, that's all right. So Hannah has a district up. Let's see if Anthony and Kirk are ready to go here. Fantastic, Anthony. And Kirk. Awesome. So we have our PDF, we have our district. Let's rock and roll. So the first thing we're going to look for, you can start editing on your own slide. And I'm not going to present this screen anymore because you guys have it in front of you on the PDF, is we're going to look for a vision and a mission statement for that school. Sometimes that's found on the homepage. Other times you have to dig a little deeper. So here, if we go through and let's go ahead, just scroll through the site, kind of get a feel for where some things are. So this one has information about their immersion program, which is really cool. Awesome. Roland's good to go with his PDF. Information about special education and child find, that's very important. Information about homeschooling, bullying prevention. So I'm just going to go over here and go into the, let me scoot this over. That's contact over there. Good. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to click on district and we're going to look for a vision or a mission statement. I want you guys to scroll around on the site that you're looking at too to see where you can find that information. It might just be on the homepage. It might be on a specific schools page. You might find it under district information. Let's see. I'm just going to go under. Let's go to elementary schools. This is a very big district.
Sam, and we're going to Sam, can I ask you to drop the PDF file in the chat again?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Jillian wasn't able to get it. I think it, like you said earlier, it probably doesn't appear.
I didn't think, yeah, if you join after it's been, it's like, sorry, can't go there now. All right, there you go, Jillian. All right, so I'm going to go into Academy Park here. Let's see if we can find a mission statement. Stakeholders, let's see. Here's information about non-discrimination, information about accessibility. That's good to know. But I'm really looking for that vision and that mission statement. If you found one on your site, jot it down in that part of the PDF. Ooh. Maybe it's under family, community resources. Sometimes you gotta search, just like we're doing here, right? So finding their finding their vision and their mission statement, just so you know what this school is all about, and kind of getting a feel for it, especially if you've never been to this school. So if you have your list of schools in which you're interested in applying for, look to see what their vision, what their mission statement is, and then, oh, good, Kirk, thank you. So look for that, and then once you have that information, I want you to think about what are the key words in that vision and mission statement, and how can you work to help make that vision statement come to life, or how do you show that vision or that mission statement in your teaching? So once you found that information, go ahead and think about what are some of those key words, and then how do you show that information? How can you come alongside that vision and mission statement? Thank you. All right, there we go. Once you have some ideas there of how you exemplify that vision and mission statement, you might want to do that, put some of that verbiage in a cover letter, things like that. So you're really showcasing that cover letter for that specific district. From there, let's look at the community. So here we have information about their community. You can look at demographics as well for the school. That's important to know. And I want you guys to drop that in chat. Why should we know about the demographics? Why is that important for us as teacher candidates to know about? There we go. Why should we know about those demographics? And let's drop that down in chat. Kirk, that's a great response. I know you're new to this arena, like you said here, but it tells us, what's the what are the needs of the students? Maybe what are their testing? What are their scores on specific statewide tests? That can help us see, where are the needs of our students, and we can use that information in a resume, in an interview question. So looking at the data, I can see that your school is scoring X. This is how I hope to continue that improvement over the past few years, like I noticed on your district website. So you can use that data to be informed about the school or the district, where their strengths are and where their needs are. And that's a really important piece as a teacher candidate. You're going in informed, and you can use that information and that data in an interview question. And then you don't have to ask that information then at the end of your interview. You already have that information. So when looking at the community, so this school, they, as you can see, if I click on just the elementary alone, they have many, many, many elementary schools here. And all of them have different needs. Some of them have, they were mentioning to me whenever I was chatting with them about the different needs the schools have. Some schools have many different languages that they use in the school, which is really, really interesting. I'm going to go to this school here. This one, Harveston, is a school for students with disabilities. And this one will tell you information about the school principal, all their contact info. But what's really cool about it is, you can go in and you can dig a little bit more into specific schools within that district. So once you've found out a little bit about their community, you can even go in and Google the community, see where they're located on a map. That's good to know as well, especially if you're looking for a job that, you kind of want to say, within a specific mile radius of where you're going to be living. You can look up that information, but you don't want that to be the answer to your interview question. Why should we hire you? Well, you're 20 minutes from my house. You don't want that to be a response. You want it to be because it's a district in which you see yourself growing as an educator and helping to support the mission and vision that they have set for their students. That was a pretty good answer. All right, so knowing the values of the school and of the district. So if you go into some of the information about that district, so like here we have some district policies. You might find some information there. If you are able to download the faculty and the student handbook, get that information too. That's really good to have. Again, it's going to kind of be a lot of searching here for that information. So that's why I wanted to provide you with that PDF, so you can kind of use this time to start digging through and see what you have available to you. So if you're able to find information about the values of the school, you can find some of that in their student handbooks. You can find some of that in their faculty handbooks as well. Let's see, school boundaries. Oh, that's going to be like their map. Let's go into Education Foundation. It's thinking. Ooh, look at this. This is interesting. So the reason I picked Granite is because they have so much going on their website with district news, with the superintendent's blog, with all sorts of stuff. You can see a lot of stuff going on in their district. You can see here that they're a giving community, that you can see here's some stats about the district: 106 different languages, 91 different schools, 38% of the students are below early literacy markers, 54%, let me scoot that over, there we go, at an economic disadvantage. So if this is a district in which you're like, yeah, I can give back here, I can really make a difference, and this is where I can see myself growing, you're going to want to know some of this information. So my advice to you is, as you're clicking through your district's website, click on all the links just to see where they go. Now, you're not going to be able to get into the teacher and the faculty login, but you're going to be able to get a lot of information here. So let's keep going here. So we can see that, Granite, for example, is a district that likes to give back, likes to support their students. People we want to know from that district is going to be under, well, for the principals and assistant principals, definitely under specific schools. You might find information about the board and the department underneath their district calendar. So I want you to pause for a moment, and I want you to go through your school's website and look to see, can you identify the superintendent or the assistant or the assistant superintendent, the principal and the assistant principal. And if you're able to find the HR director, that's great too, for that specific school or that district. For this specific site, the superintendent does looks like a monthly vlog. So if I see it's on YouTube, I would subscribe to that so I can see what's going on in their school or their district. Here's their information about their secretary and their superintendent. Boom, I got an email address and I got a name right there. I'm going to want to jot that down. If I'm able to get a picture of the person, sometimes it's good to have that information. So if you're going to a career fair, you can see if that person's there, or if you're interviewing with them, knowing who's on your panel is really important. Whenever I did a few phone interviews, you don't see the people, you don't see their facial expressions. So having like a person's face in front of you is really helpful. So I can see who I'm talking to, what they look like, which was really helpful for me as an interviewee. So if we go into here, we can go ahead and we can look through the different information. We can pull up that information for that person. Here's human resources, here's a phone number. Now we're not going to call this person all the time. It's just good to know who it is if you get an email from that individual. So let's go ahead and jot down who, if you're able to find these people on that school or that district website. And my recommendation is also if you can get a little picture of them and put that next to their name, so you can put a face with a name and have that information. So I hope that this is helpful for you to work through a district that you're interested in, and really start to dig in. Because when a professor says, oh, you want to research the school, knowing what to look for, and knowing that it can take some time and it's not just as easy as typing in the school district's name, it can be a little time consuming. We're just going to get started with that today. All right. So we have some of our information. A couple of things you're going to want to do if that district has social media, follow it, because you're going to get information about events going on at school, information about the community, information about the students, just to see what they're up to. So for example, a school district that I follow, they just did a STEM activity, a STEM showcase. So seeing that was really cool. Or you can also kind of get a little sneak peek into the technology that they use. If you're really passionate about educational technology, you can use that and start to follow and see how are teachers using educational technology, or what are some neat initiatives that are going on at the school. And you can use that as a talking point in your interview. At one district that I interviewed for, I noticed that they did a community math day where they invited learners in elementary school to their campus on a Saturday, and they had high school volunteers come in and work with students and do stations and things like that. So I was able to bring that up in the interview, like, oh, I noticed you just did a math activity last month with your learners on a Saturday. That is really cool. That's somewhere where I'd like to explore, working outside the classroom as a volunteer and engaging in that school and community. It shows that you really are researching them, and you're not going through the motions of just, okay, I scrolled through their site once, that's about it. You're really taking the time to kind of see if they match your criteria as a teacher. So for example, if you see a district that has a policy about no cell phones in the classroom, and you really enjoy using tools like Nearpod or Pear Deck or other tools to engage students using technology, maybe asking them clarifying questions about that. Are students allowed to use technology in the classroom? I noticed in your handbook, such and such and such, and you can talk about that, but I would like to use educational technology, with a purpose, and explain that. And you can kind of start weeding out schools that aren't matching your own teaching philosophy. So knowing and understanding what you want in a school is really helpful in this process as well. So hopefully by this point, we have all of our people listed. And we're going to look at some events. So if we're able to follow them on social, we're going to follow all the socials that we can. And sometimes, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, do some districts post employment opportunities on their social media?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what's
they'll-
a benefit of knowing about that ahead of time?
Early bird gets the worm.
Exactly.
No, absolutely they do. They'll likely post it on their website, but many times it'll come out on social media first.
Yeah, so you can get the inside scoop. Hey, they have a posting for an elementary teacher. I'm going to go and dig into that a little bit more. Or you can like that post. That's always good too. And just to say, hey, just for them to say, hey, look, I'm interested in it. And your name, face and name and all that stuff for your social media. So follow all the social media that you can and scroll through it. Start looking to see what they're posting. Another good thing to find those events happening in the district. would definitely be the calendars. You can go ahead and you can see all the stuff that's going on. Sometimes they're embedded like this, other times you have to download them. So you might have a few downloads on your machine, which is okay, so then you might be able to learn a little bit more by clicking on them, sometimes not, for the different events going on. Don't just look at what's going on for this month, look back to see what happened last month. Maybe you want to bring that up and see, if there's anything going on in that district. Here's parent-teacher conferences, yeah, so you can check out that information just to see what's going on in the district. You can also go into, let's go back to our schools. So if you want to search for a specific school, and go back to Academy Park here, you can see that, there we go. You can see that the school has a specific newsletter. Read through it, download a few from months past, just to see what's going on in that specific school. Because a district is going to give you the big picture. The school is going to give you more specific to that area. And for this specific school, the Granite Area School the school district, it's a huge district. So being able to pinpoint specific ones is really, really important. And then you can go ahead and scroll through that. You can also, let's scroll back up to directory, teachers. You can go ahead and check out specific teacher websites. This is going to maybe give you information about what's going on in that specific classroom. You might even be able to get information about technology that they use. So if you're interviewing for a kindergarten position, you would know, like, oh, this school already uses Brain Pop, or they already use Go Noodle, or whatever it might be, just by clicking around and looking at what other teachers have posted as resources. So that is a really fun one too, to look at, and also just to get your creative juices flowing with some lesson planning ideas, just see what other people have done. So again, you can check out the specific newsletter, you can check out specific calendars for the schools and see what they have there. I have to subscribe. I'm not going to subscribe, but if you would like to subscribe to yours, go for it. What's also really nice is you can find more information in the school about their Title I program. You can find information about their resources, like the anti-bullying resources. If there's a positive behavior support plan, you're going to want to really look through and see what's available. You can also look at the schedule, and depending on the school that you're looking at, you might be able to see a list of courses. For our secondary friends out there who are who are teaching high school or middle school, you might be able to see the list of courses. And if you're able to, that's awesome. First of all, that's really cool. But look to see what types of courses in your certification area that are offered. For some of our special ed friends that are listening in today, if you're able to find any clubs or organizations, like look at the high school website for that district. For the district that I grew up in, there was 5 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school. So going to the high school, looking at the organizations and clubs, because you might be able to volunteer, especially if you're interested in sign language, maybe starting up a sign language club, or interested in STEM, working with the STEM and robotics. So look to see what that district has to offer and how you can support what they're currently doing. And if it's not there, ask about it and say, I can bring this to your district, and this is why it'd be beneficial for students. So really look to see if you're able to look at courses, if you're able to look at organizations or clubs within that specific school or that district. So a lot of stuff there that you can look at. This next piece is difficult to find. Let me go all the way back here. It's difficult to find the information about the testing scores and the curriculum. Sometimes I find the curriculum on specific teacher websites where it'll link out to Pearson, or it'll link out to specific curriculum developers, Houghton Mifflin, and it'll have the specific textbook that they're using. That's good. That's a great start. So if you're able to find that information, and if you're on a campus that has a library with curriculum, if you're able to check out that curriculum just to look through it to see what content the students are learning, what they have learned, and where they're going, especially if you're going to be interviewing soon, so you can kind of have a little bit of that information about what curriculum they use. I had a friend text me the other day, and she said, I'm interviewing for a school that doesn't have any curriculum. You kind of, it's a charter school, you kind of do whatever you would like, and it's supported by, it's standards based, or it's criterion based, or it's competency based. So that's good to know too, knowing what the school, or the charter school, or the private school, or the public school is using. That's always a good piece of information to learn as well. So knowing what those demographics are, it's tricky to find, I will tell you that. I know in Pennsylvania, you can search for some of this content on the Department of Education site. Tim, do you have any tips for finding some of this information about enrollment and demographics besides like a statewide website?
Yeah, I would probably have made that same suggestion. The the other thing, I mean, if it's not on the district website, I think it's reasonable to to call the district number and ask. And I mean, you don't have to go to the talk to the HR department or what have you. You can just say, I'm a candidate, but I'm just calling because I'm looking to gather some information, understand better the district. And so could you point me to, is this information on the website, or is there some other source that I can locate? So hopefully the front desk receptionist at the district, whoever's answering that main number, can share that information with you quickly back.
That's a great idea. I love that. Yeah, don't be afraid to pick up the phone and just ask and see where they can direct you to. And that shows initiative, in my opinion. It doesn't show like, oh, you didn't research our site well enough. It shows initiative, like, hey, I'm trying to look for this information and learn more about your school. Could you please let me know about the enrollment information about testing, how they did on that statewide test? And that's good information to know, again, as a teacher candidate, knowing the demographics. But like I said earlier, try to click on all the things that you can, because you never know where something's going to lead you to on a district website. So here I'm looking through, and when you're looking through that that website, there's a lot here, but you can go ahead and you can use some of this information. So if I click on gradebook, for example, oh, it's not going to show me what they use. Sometimes it'll tell you Blackboard or something else. So now you know, okay, well, this school uses Google Classroom, or this school uses Blackboard or Schoology. But knowing that information ahead of time is also really helpful, because you can use some of your time researching that specific technology for gradebook or grade tracking, and really get a little handle on it, so when they're asking how about assessment or feedback or things like that. Even some of those LMSs, the learning management systems, even offer some training and certification that you can do to really get a handle on how to use it. You can use fake information and just practice with it, which is pretty cool. Let's see here. What else did I want to share? So if you are going in for an interview at this school or this district, first of all, give yourself a pat on the back. That is awesome. You're going in for a first round interview. Everybody's nervous during their first round interview, but it's important to know who is on that panel. So know who you're interviewing with. And some of that information you've already figured out. You know who the principal is, the assistant principal, the superintendent. Thank you, Tim. Yeah, so knowing who's on that panel, sometimes there might be a teacher on that panel in that specific grade level or subject area in which you're applying for. So that's always good to know. And if you can have that picture and the name. You can also, if you don't know who is going to be on your panel, you can call the administrative assistant and ask, hi, I'm coming in for an interview on Thursday at 1 p.m. Would you be able to tell me who is on the interview panel? because you're going to use that information first to prepare, know who they are, but then also you're going to have in your car, or if you're doing this virtually, on the desk next to you, handwritten thank you notes for each individual person on that team that interviewed you. You're going to send them a thank you note that goes right to their mailbox, handwritten, that just thanks them for their time for interviewing you that day. You can even expand more if you wanted to on an interview question. Maybe if they asked you about classroom management technique, you can expand on that a little bit more. You can even grab your digital portfolio and put the link to your digital, write down the link to your digital portfolio there, or even say, thank you. I think they're underrated too, but they really do make a difference. Um, it really does show that you went that extra step. So not only is this information good to know who is interviewing me, how many people will be in the room, but sending that thank you note, which is so important. And to do that like right after your interview, so everything's fresh in your mind, because you can expand on a question, you can give them more information and thank them for their time. You can also, the administrative assistant might also be able to tell you information about the interview process. So we're going to start with a 15-minute or a 10-minute get to know you type interview, and then move into more a second round interview. Could be like a teaching demo, or they will call you back in a few days. So they might tell you at the end of that first round interview, if you're selected to go into our second round, please expect a phone call by Friday at 3 p.m. or whatever time that is. And then you can, jot down, looking forward to following up with you, something like that. So knowing that they have a lot of candidates that they're interviewing, they're not going to get back to you like within an hour, and that's okay. You're still a great candidate. Just giving yourself that space to know what their process is and their timeline. Oftentimes during this time, Tim, I always get asked the question, what if I'm interviewing for 2 districts? I get offered the job in one, but I'm still waiting out on that second one. Should I sign that contract? That's a tough question that interviewees often ask, and maybe that's on your mind today, friends. And I don't know, Tim, how would you answer that? And then I'll share my response.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It's certainly not specific to a specific issue to teachers or K-12 employees, but I think it. I think it's reasonable to ask for a day or a couple of days to consider the offer. Um, but I think in if you're very confident in the situation and the offer, then certainly you can jump at it. I think it's probably wise to give yourself at least 24 hours turnaround. Um, but certainly there are situations where if you leave the district hanging, they're not going to appreciate that, just like you wouldn't appreciate being left hanging. So it's just
Hmm.
I don't there's not really a universal answer to that. It's just you know what I mean. I would be upfront about asking for whatever time you think you need, and if that is if the response is that's more time than we're prepared to give you, then I guess you're negotiating the response time. But I think districts, most districts will be very understanding if you want 24 48 hours to consider the offer. And I would say once you accept an offer, I think it says a lot about you as a professional if you do or you do not uh, follow through on that agreement. So I think
Hmm.
once you make that commitment, I think in my opinion, you're committing to at least the next the school year for employment.
Right, you signed that contract, you made that commitment to that district. It's kind of along the same line here. If you're offered a job at a career fair, or a virtual career fair, you're given a letter of intent. Ask for some time to think it over. If they want you now, they're going to want you in 24, 48 hours. So make sure you ask for that time. Don't feel pressured to sign right then and there. Take your time to really think about this decision whenever you sign that contract. And Tim mentioned here in the notes, I think it went out to everybody, the administrative assistant. They may not be involved in the process, but they should definitely be treated very well. I had a principal friend who shared with me on the podcast. He shared, Sam, every time I have a candidate come in, I asked my administrative assistant, so how were they in the waiting room? If they were on their phone the whole time, she makes note of that. If she was greeted nicely, how was she treated? Because that's going to show how you treat others. So always treat that person with respect. Really engage in conversation if you can. Don't be on your phone the whole time. I know we're all nervous. Maybe even put your phone aside, like in your purse or in your briefcase, or if you're bringing something to the interview. But definitely, that person may even be asked, so what did you think of that candidate? They interviewed really well, but how did they do out here? They don't see that part. So a little tip there. A couple of other things. Yeah, Kirk, you're absolutely right. Courtesy, so important. All right, friends. So a couple more things to check out on that district site would be if you're able to look at the school board minutes, how often they have school board meetings. That's also good too. If you're able to look at recorded school board meetings, that's great information as well. You might even find the people that that are interviewing you talking, so you can kind of get that face to the name there. So if you're able to look at school board minutes, pull that information, look to see what new initiatives they're looking at as a district. How are you aligning with those initiatives? Maybe they're doing a big expansion. I don't know. So really look through those school board minutes if you're able to. I just saw here that Granite uses Canvas. If you're able to see what type of technology that district uses, definitely go in and see if you can do a few trainings or a few tutorials so you are familiar with that tool. And like I said, sometimes even the LMSs offer like little certifications within their learning management system that you can do, so that you can put that on a resume if you would like, just to really bolster your resume and show you as the best candidate for this position. So if we already talked about the class schedules, and if you're able to look at class offerings, that's good information as well. The faculty handbook might tell you information about your contracted time, what time you need to be there, what time you can leave, how many days off you have, all that stuff, the dress code, the technology information, anti-bullying, positive behavior support. So if you're able to find that faculty handbook, download that or search through it. That's really important as a candidate. But with about 15 minutes left in our time today, I want to open up to questions from you all. What questions do you have either about researching a school, and hopefully we demystified some of these things about what does it mean to actually research a school, and that you've had time to start looking through a district that you're interested in, and use this time wisely to really start that research process. Because whenever I was interviewing, honestly, all I would do is I would look at their webpage and I'm like, okay, I know where the school is. I think that's it. But as we talked about here, it is so much more than just scrolling the first homepage, really digging into the areas that you're interested in. So if you're interested in volunteering or coaching or doing organizations or clubs, you're going to want to look at that. You can look at information about their special education program. This one has a dual immersion program, which is pretty cool. This one talks all about prevention and their bullying prevention program. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that you can scroll through here. Watch the videos, look at their social media, engage with them in a way that you're getting informed about that school or that district. So my advice to you is, if you're going to the career fair on Thursday, look through that list. What districts are you on fire about and totally pumped to get an interview with? What districts are you excited about? What district you're like, oh, okay, that looks interesting. Divide them into 3 groups. Make copies of that PDF, or even pull those questions from the PDF and put them in an Excel document. So you would have the questions along the left, the school districts along the top, and you can even start filling in that information just to compare schools to see what is really speaking to your teaching philosophy and your why. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. You guys start asking some questions. What questions we have about the interview process or researching a school that I can help you all with? Oh, that's a good first question, Kirk. Let's start off with a hard one, huh? All right, so let's see here. Kirk asked for a newbie with no teaching experience. Does it make more sense to target several local districts and apply to be a substitute? Kirk, I'm going to say if you can get experience. And applying to be a substitute is a fantastic experience. It's going to pay you some money, which is great. It's going to get you experience in different districts. So you kind of, the culture of that school or the culture of that district. You can get the ins and outs a little bit there, which is really great in a job search. So if you're able to apply to be a substitute and do that legwork ahead of time, applying to be a sub, at several different districts, that would be great, just to get that experience in different districts. Yeah, sorry, I kind of rambled on there. Yeah, so if you're able to get that experience as a sub, I would say go for it. It's going to get your name in front of decision makers, and it's going to give you that teaching experience.
Yeah, and Sam, I would just echo what you just said, but also districts appreciate that opportunity to see you as a substitute. I mean, to see you teach, and so
Yeah,
the substitute teaching, it's a two-way street. It gives you as a candidate or you as a substitute an opportunity to check out the district and see if this district and this school is a good fit for me, but the district is looking at it that way as well. Is it a good fit for them? The-
absolutely.
one one other thing I wanted to say, and it's more general to the topic of today, is as you candidates are looking at district websites, you're going to start to, the more time you look at, the more different sites you look at, the more you're going to see there's commonalities, there's things that are the same. And so what in my opinion, what you'll want to start to try to notice is what's different about this district, what makes this district stand out, because that's, and hopefully it's in a positive way. And if it is, the district's going to love for you to have noted that, hey, I see your district is particularly focused on this area, or you're using cutting edge software or technology in this area, or what have you. You're leading the pack on bullying prevention or whatever it is. But and that's something that, again, it's gonna take time for you to kind of to develop those skills of being able to see that stuff. But just know to be looking out for it. After you've spent some time on 8 or 10 or 12 websites, district websites, I think you are going to start to get a sense of those things that kind of stand out.
I love
Because
that.
yeah, because I mean, and I used to be in K-12 recruitment, and I would go to job fairs and I would talk to candidates, and so many times the questions and the comments from candidates were sort of generic, right? And they could have asked the same questions of me, or the next table over, or the next table over, the next table over.
Yeah,
So the more, and again, it's a skill you'll have to develop, and knowledge you'll have to develop, but the more specific you can be, in your questions that show, I mean, I know something about your district that most candidates don't, right? I know
mhm.
I know enough to know to ask a question that's specific to, in this case, Granite School District, and not just every district USA.
That's a great point, Tim. And going back to your point about the substitute teaching, if you can get that principal to observe you during substitute teaching, that would be awesome. If they can stop by, if you can just ask them, I would love your feedback on content delivery, whatever it might be. That gets your name in front of them, and they're able to actually see you do what you do best, which is teaching. And I love that idea of whenever you're looking at all the schools, what makes specific schools stand out. And you can even have a column on that if you're using an Excel sheet or a Word doc. You can even have like, what makes this school special? What's their secret sauce? And you can put that in there. So now you have something to ask about or something to share about in that interview. And when you said it's the same few questions that you can ask about it from a recruiter, thinking about being targeted and specific with your questions. Yes, probably every school district is going to have a mentoring or a new teacher program. So maybe instead of that, someone from Granite, Wyatt, who is a recruiter from Granite, shared, please don't ask about the new teacher recruitment program. Most schools have a new teacher mentor type program. Instead, ask something like an area that as a new teacher I would struggle with is, share what that might be. How does your school support that? So kind of turning it on its head a little bit, knowing I know you have a teacher mentor program. I'm not going to ask about that, but here's an area in which I want to grow in as an educator of excellence. What are some ways that your school can help me with that? Jillian, I love it. I love this idea that she shared. That's a good idea. Ask the principal to observe a lesson while student teaching. For sure, Jillian, totally ask that principal to observe you during student teaching. Because again, you never know where that might lead. And it's just a great practice. You get more feedback, the more feedback, the better, right? And they can see you do what you do best. I think that's really a great idea. I once had a student teacher who had the principal come and observe her teach, and she goes, that was the best experience that I had. We were able to have a conversation afterwards and reflect upon it. She kind of gets some one-on-one time with the principal, which is nice. All right, what other questions do we have? I know you guys have them. What other questions do we have that we can help you with today?
They got all the answers, Sam.
I know, right? Well, I truly hope that this was helpful for you guys to work through what to look for when it comes to researching a district, because we can say research a district, but what does that really mean? I hope that workbook was helpful for you to think through some of those categories, to jot down some of those ideas. And I think I'm going to change it up. Maybe I'll I am going to do this. I'm going to send you guys a little Excel sheet that you guys can make a copy of, and it'll have like District 1, District 2, District 3, and then all the things to look for on the left-hand side. So you guys have that, you can compare, and I'll put a little column in it that says, what's the secret sauce? And you can jot that down. So you guys can look at it and like really research that district deeply. Maybe even have a spot there for like, what question can I ask that district? Yeah, okay, I got some ideas flowing here. Of course, Kirk. And I'll send that to you, Tim, and maybe you can send that out to the participants today.
Sure thing.
Yeah, all right, I love it. All right, friends, I have my email here. Please, if you have questions, comments, concerns, please drop me a message. I respond to email daily, so I'm happy to help to support you in any way. For more interviewing stuff, I have podcast episodes about this topic. You can check it out over on sfessage.com, and let's connect over on social. Thank you so much again for your time this Tuesday evening. I wish you the best of luck during your interview season, and maybe I'll see you guys at the career fair on Thursday. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye for now.